All right, what is up, everyone? Super excited for today's video. I'm going to be showing you guys the newest indicator that I have created here, and I'm actually very excited about this one. So I'm recording a video before I've even launched it and made it out, available to members yet. But this will be coming very soon. I just want to test it a little bit more before I release it for you guys. But so this is our indicator here. And what I've done is I've had it scripted to where whenever this flips from, above zero, below zero, the candlesticks automatically change color as well. And the whole purpose of that is to make it a little bit easier to visualize, also eliminate some of the noise of some of the down days on buy signals whenever you get a buy signal and then, the stock drops a little bit afterwards. And we'll go over how this can be used on multiple time frames. We'll talk about all of the different time frames that you guys can see. This is on lift right here. This looks really good. We just recently got a buy signal. We'll break down what the indicator reveals. Okay, we'll talk about what exactly is the indicator itself. Some of the formulas used to create it, and then we'll talk about the use cases for the different time frames. Okay, so it's going to be a really good video. All right, but as always, the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So be sure to keep that in mind. All right, so we're on Thinkorswim now. This is our indicator right here. I do want to mention how easy it is to adjust, the settings on this. I try to make it as easy as possible. So we're on a daily time frame now. We can switch it to the 4 hour. Okay, we'll come here. We'll click on apply, and you see now the indicator readings are changed because it's based off of a 4 hour chart now. And if we adjust our chart to the 4 hour, you can see how it's meant to adjust, right? So sometimes indicators, the way indicators are made, they're not really useful for adjusting time frame, right? And so this one is very quick and easy to adjust it to the time frame as you adjust to the time frame, yourself, right? So we can even go further down to something like a 5 minute chart. Okay, and switch this in here to a 5 minute, hit apply, boom, and now we can see. Okay, and I mean, I'm still messing around with it, but as you guys can see, it seems to be a pretty good buy and sell signal. Now, of course, no indicators are going to be 100%, but flip to a buy right here, strong push up, right? Very strong push up. Flip to a sell, we had a pullback. And you can see there's these periods of chop here, right? Especially on the 5 minute time frame, not as clear, as maybe some of the larger time frames. But what I'm interested for mostly is for swing trading for this. I love to bring members of the investment intelligence community, more and more swing trade tools and different opportunities, platforms, resources. And this is one that I'm very excited to be bringing to y'all. Because as far as day trading goes, I pretty much have my day trading strategy. I've made that day trading strategy. I made many videos on it, right? And I've also created all the indicators, and all of the members have access to those indicators. So I'm not looking it, and it works, right? They say when you have something that's not broken, don't fix it. The day trading strategy has been working for me. And lately I've just been exploring, what are some easier ways for me to find winners in the stock market? Because ultimately that's all I want now, right? Is I'm confident in my TA and technical analysis, but I don't want to have to do all of the hard work of, looking through the market for where are the setups, right? What stocks are setting up, which stocks are this, so that's the whole purpose of things like the zone finder, okay, of the compression hunter, of the pulse radar. And I think I'm going to call this the trend flip or the trend flipper or something like that. Haven't quite come up with a name for it yet, but take a look at how good of a signal this was, right? Even the sell signal. Okay, now this may look like it was a bad buy signal right over there, but take a look where it flipped green at, right? We flipped green over here and had a very strong move. right? So I'm thinking of this on a daily time frame. This is something where I'm thinking I can go out and buy call options 3 months out from the time of when this indicator flips, or 6 months out in time from when the indicator flips, depending on what type of risk appetite you guys have. That's something for you all to determine for yourself. But if we take a look at this, right? I mean, we flipped from a buy in November of last year, so right around December, and the stock continued to go higher for 4 months, okay, into late March, right? And so you have all of that time period in there to take profit on your play. There was one candle here where it flipped red, but that's up to you if you would want to, stop out of that position from one, candle change, okay? And you see, even let's say you got in here, right? So you got in here, you're still profitable on this if you're holding shares, because it did close, above, where this candlestick closed after the buy signal. But ultimately, we want to take a look, and we look at even more recently, it turned into a really good sell signal, and the stock sold off for, another 4 months, right? 4 or 5 months, continued to go lower. And we just recently got the trend flip. Okay. So, if I was to come in here and do some technical analysis on this real quick, I'm going to come in here and we're going to draw a trend line. So we can see, the trend line breakout. So here's our initial breakout here. I'm going to come in here and throw on our Fibonacci's. Okay. 20.82. Well, we don't have to be perfect right now. And we'll just roughly line these up with the bottoms here. And look at what we're doing is we're creating a chart pattern, right at a key inflection point. Okay. And that inflection point is going to be the 38.2% Fibonacci. But let's go ahead and draw this on here real quick so you guys can see. And we've got a little bit of a left shoulder, right? Here's a head, and then here's a right shoulder forming. So we've got a potential inverse head and shoulders forming here above our key inflection point of the 38.2% Fibonacci, which is right around 1350. All right. And then we come in here, and what I also like to do is throw on the anchored VWAPs, which is, nothing crazy like that I invented. A lot of people can, script up an anchored VWAP in Thinkorswim. But we'll come in here, we'll throw our anchored VWAP on for what does this look like? March 11th. Okay. And we'll see if we're trading, which I think we are. I think we're trading above. Nope, not yet. All right, let's see what we can do here. Let's adjust this up a little bit. Sorry, guys, one moment. Just trying to get this to the highs, okay, to our 52-week highs here. And I want to see where we're at, where the stock is. We're actually closing, look at this, right at our anchored VWAP. Now, why is this so important? Okay, what you're saying, why does this even matter, Zach? Why did you just take all that time doing that? Well, the average buyer or seller price, basically, you can tell who's in control of price, by using the VWAP. Okay. And so you see, bears continue to push price lower each time we come up to the VWAP, right? And we've been trading below it. And as that happens, that's a clear sign that bears are in control of price action. Okay. So, as bears have been in control of price action, the bulls haven't been able to reclaim the pivot high anchored VWAP. Now, if we get above this anchored VWAP, this means bulls are going to be in control. So not only are we, trading above our key inflection point here of 13.56, not only did we get a trend line breakout, not only do we have, a base pattern forming, we have all of those things together. Okay. Plus, we've got our signal here from the trend flipper indicating that, hey, the trend is flipping now, and we're going to look to see if we can get above this anchored VWAP. And right now, lift, to me, looks like a solid trade. And you can set up a really, really nice risk-reward ratio, trading, putting a stop loss below 1350, right? Because that's our level. Above 1350 for lift, I think you want to be long, and you want to be targeting 1633. And so you're risking about 50 cents right now to potentially make $2.30. So that's a really good risk reward ratio. Those are the type of risk reward ratios that you guys want when, in my opinion, when looking for swing trades, right? Now, That's just a real life example of the indicator. Okay. You may still be a little bit confused, right? I'm trying to make things as simple as possible for people too, which is why I kind of do the color change thing. But for those people who really want to know what this indicator is and what it's doing, we can dive into that. Okay. So when it's above zero, and that's when the indicator turns green, it means that the closing price is closer to the high than the low, which may indicate bullish strength or upward pressure. When it's below zero, the closing price is closer to the low, which could signal bearish weakness or downward pressure. Now, the zero line, the closing price is right in the middle of the recent high and low range, suggesting neutral conditions. This indicator can give insight into the strength of price movements within a short time frame, helping you identify potential momentum shifts based on where the price is closing relative to its range. So all of that to say, I'm trying to calling it maybe the trend flipper. I may call it the momentum flipper. I haven't come up with a name yet for it quite yet. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think I should name it. But the high-low degree indicator, which is, what it's named right now, right, is a measure of how the current price close relates to the midpoint of the recent high and low values. Now, here's a detailed breakdown, okay? You have the highest high and the lowest low. So we calculate the highest high and the lowest low over a specified period. That's going to be our length, right? So we're talking about the daily time frame. We're talking about the weekly and all that different stuff, right? In your code, the length is set to 1. All right. The midpoint calculation is simply the average of the highest high and the lowest low. Okay. So you're just adding those together, dividing it by 2. That represents the central price between the high and low. The high-low degree calculation, okay, is going to take the close minus the mid, right? So if we take a look at this, you can see the formula right here, all right, and then the highest high minus the mid, all right? Now, this measures where the closing price is relative to the midpoint and the high. It tells you whether the current close is closer to the high, low, or midpoint of the recent price range. So positive values mean that the closing price is above the midpoint, closer to the high. The negative values mean that the closing price is below the midpoint, closer to the low. And obviously zero, the closing price is exactly at the midpoint between the high and low. So use case, right? How do you use this indicator? Well, if you're doing it on something like the 1 minute chart, okay, you have the length set at 1. This is going to be good for the 1 minute chart, all right? For scalpers who need to analyze every single price movement, you can use it on the 5 minute chart to provide a slightly broader perspective for quick intraday trades. But the favorite for this one is the 1 minute, okay? And this setting is extremely reactive and works best for scalpers looking to catch every tick, right? So you guys that trade futures, maybe this would be good, right? I know on the futures, I'm looking at one of my charts is set at a 1 minute chart, because those ticks and everything like that really matter and they start to add up, right? Now, for short-term momentum, you can try it on a 5 minute chart. Okay, so this is for day traders looking to catch quick moves. You can use it on a 15-minute chart if you want a broader short-term view with less noise than the 5 minute chart. Or you can try to use this on an hourly chart for swing traders interested in short-term shifts in momentum over several hours. The favorite for this length is going to be the 15-minute chart, and this time frame strikes a balance between being short enough for day trades but long enough to smooth out the noise, right? The use case for the 20 bars, this is going to be your hourly chart essentially, but you're going to use this for trend following and confirmation of a breakout. So you can use it on the 15-minute chart to capture multiple hours of price action for intraday trades. The hourly chart is really great for identifying trends lasting over multiple days. And the daily chart gives a medium-term perspective for multi-day or week-long swing trades, right? So again, a little bit more shorter terms, right? Time frames, right? All of these that we've looked at so far have been for day trading. This one right here is getting, into multi-day or week-long swing trades, all right? And that's going to be using the hourly chart indicator, setting on the indicator. You have the 50 bars. This one is best used on the 4-hour chart. That's our favorite for this one. And we're going to be looking at a little bit of a longer term trend analysis. You can use that one on the 1 hour to help day traders and swing traders follow trends that could last for multiple days or even a week. The 4-hour chart provides a medium term perspective over multiple weeks. And the daily chart is ideal for longer swing trades or positions that can last several weeks or more. The favorite for this one, obviously, going to be the 4-hour, looking to catch medium term price moves. And then the favorite for this one is going to be the daily chart. That's your 100 length. You can use it on the 4 hour chart. That's ideal for tracking trends that span several weeks or more. The daily chart is suitable for multi-month swing trades or trend following strategies. When we went to the chart, right, and we talked about this, we went to the chart. I'm making this explanation video for you guys so you guys can see. We talked about multi-month, right? We talked about, hey, when this flips green, maybe I can look at buying call options 3 or 6 months out in future in time. And this thing ran and continued making highs for 4 months, right? And then here, whenever we dropped, right, this was in May and we flipped back to red. Okay, this thing dropped and continued to drop, for 3 months. Okay, and it was still red over here. We didn't get a buy signal or a trend flip, as the indicator might suggest. Is what I'm calling it right now. There was no trend flip until here recently. But yeah, this is, I mean, on the daily time frame, guys, it's looking really good for some swing trades, for potentially even multi-month swing trades. Right now, if you're someone really short term, yeah, you can use this daily chart indicator and look to sell after a couple days. I mean, just in a couple weeks, this thing had a really nice run when it first flipped over here. But let's zoom down a little bit, right? Let's zoom in a little more and let's take a look at that 4 hour. And you can see on the 4 hour, it actually led early before the daily time frame, right? And it was a little choppy, it is a little noisy, and that can often be the case when using some of these indicators. But you don't want to try to let 1 or 2 bars throw you out of a trade, okay? You want to have your own risk reward, your own trade idea set up on there. This indicator is just simply to make it easier for you, okay? And so, for instance, with this trade idea, we'd be looking at longs above 1350. So we're not going to get scared if we get just one little red bar over here, but we're still above 1350. Now, that can be useful to say, okay, well, hey, maybe I need to keep this one on high alert because it could potentially go back down and flip back to red again. Okay, that's some of the ways to look at it. Right now, let's go ahead, finish out our explanation. Um, so we talked about the 100 bars. That's, your favorite time frame is going to be the daily chart for that. And then there is the 200 bars, right? And this one is good for the weekly time frame. You can use it on the daily chart to track trends over nearly a year, suitable for long-term swing trading or position holding. The weekly chart provides insight into multi-year trends, perfect for long-term investors. And the monthly chart is great for tracking multi-year or even decade-long trends in other stocks or assets. The weekly chart would be widely used by long-term investors to identify major trends while avoiding short-term noise. And I gotta say, I really like that concept with this stock. Okay, and here's why. Here's what I'll show you. Take a look at the SPY. Okay, when this thing flipped green, right? So we had a green flip over here. Obviously, after the bear market lows, it's not a bottoming signal. Okay, this is not a bottom signal indicator. This is more of a momentum shift indicator, a trend shift indicator, and here's a great example of it. Right, we had this downtrend here on the S&P 500. Okay, here in a downtrend. Before we even break out of this downtrend, we come here to red, and I'm turning this will be turned into a scan. Okay. And I really want to look at this for something like weekly timeframes where you're not going to get those signals a lot, okay, per se. But when you do, they do seem to be very good long-term investing opportunities, right? I mean, let's go back in time a little bit more and see, some different signals that we've gotten in the past. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not something very common, at least on the SPY. Let's try taking a look at something like Tesla, for instance. Tesla, really good in the past over here a few times. It was a good indicator here to get out or potentially even short over there. Right here, it's a little bit noisy, okay? But I'm really liking the potential for this. As I mentioned, I'm going to be setting this up a little bit more and tweaking it a little bit more, trying to improve it before I make the final releases. But I mean, yeah, if you're a long-term position holder in something, and let's say you just want something to tell you, hey, when should I average into this stock again, right? When do I want to make a lump sum investment versus dollar cost average, right? Because some people do different strategies. Some people make lump sums, some people dollar cost average, and some people do a little bit of both, right? Where they're constantly dollar cost averaging, but they want to know, or rather, they believe that there are certain good times to make, a larger lump sum investment. I'm looking at this indicator as a potential indicator for that. Let's take a look at some stocks like Nvidia. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia, very, very nice, right? Again, this is something that we're not seeing tons of signals on. Um, you know what I mean? But here, actually, I need to flip this to the weekly time frame real quick. Sorry about that. Boom. Okay. And so now our indicator is based on the weekly along with our chart here. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, the last buy signal for this indicator was January 1st, in January of 2023. Okay. So, that's your buy signal. And obviously, NVIDIA is kind of cherry picking. The stock went from split adjusted 20 to 140. But look at this. I mean, there have only been a few buy signals on this. And when you get them, you get these really, really nice long-term opportunities. And that's what I'm looking at this for. Let's look at something else like advanced auto parts, right? Advanced auto parts. This could be one to potentially look out for. I don't really know. I mean, this kind of screams like this thing's almost going bankrupt right now the way this chart looks over the past 10 years, from 244 to 336. So maybe that's not the best example here, but, definitely not telling you to buy, right? So, you've been avoiding this massive downfall that we've been experiencing in advanced auto parts. Let's try something else random like Coke, okay, Coca-Cola. And let's look at some opportunities in Coca-Cola. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this one. I really want to see, some of the live results once I start day trading these, or I'm sorry, swing trading these. So look forward to this indicator coming to the investment intelligence community and members here soon. That is something you guys can look forward to. And then obviously, I do plan on turning it into a scan as well. If you guys aren't familiar with the Investment Intelligence Discord, we'll kind of go over it real quick and give you guys a quick summary. All right, now before we do that, I do want to mention I have a completely free newsletter for you guys. It's called the Investment Intelligence. All right. Really great stuff. I mean, you take a look at some of the trade ideas that I've been putting out for you guys over the last 10. I mean, maybe it's just luck, but I really try to do a good job of putting high quality setups in there. And there have been some really great plays in there. So I definitely would recommend checking that out. It's completely free. You guys can get into the Investment Intelligence private trading group using promo code Powell. That will get you guys a discount. And whenever this indicator and new scan go live, you guys will have access to that, as well as many other things, right? Inside, there's 20 plus swing trade ideas every week. There's lots of different custom scripts and indicators that I've come up and use. Exclusive intel via the OpenBB bot, and then also exclusive chart layouts. So one of the ways that I make things so simple and easy to use for members is I share this actual chart layout, right? So what we were looking at in Thinkorswim was actually a flexible grid. You can share flexible grids. When you share those, people get the indicator, they get the chart layout, everything is done there for you. So you don't even have to do any of the hard work of setting up the indicator. It's already there. Then you can save that flexible grid. And anytime you want to use the trend flip or momentum flip, indicator that we've got right here, or you want to do some analysis using that, you just simply click on that flexible grid, load that flexible grid up, and boom, it's ready to go without you having to do any setup. Okay. Now, many of the products in there in the investment intelligence community have been producing very, very great gains. Okay. Now, these are options trades. Okay. I do trade mostly options. So these type of gains and results are not typical if you're someone who doesn't trade options. But these are specifically designed to be liquid for options and have liquid option markets. Okay, so if you are someone who trades options, a lot of these have a fairly liquid options market. Okay, when we talk about the pulse radar and when we talk about the zone finder, these are filtered along with this new one and the compression hunter. They're all filtered to have liquid options markets if you do want to trade options. But the pulse radar, this is going to be for people looking for Short-term swing trades. Okay, so anywhere from a couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks, or to anywhere to 6 to 8 weeks, right? Just depends on if your profit targets are hit, if your price targets hit, or what your time horizon in, or if you're trading options, what your expiration dates are, right? Um, and then we've got the zone finder, right? So this is an example of what the pulse radar looks like. Okay, this is another separate indicator that also changes the colors of the candlestick based off of the indicator. So, we got a buy signal here on PCG, reclaimed its 52-week high anchored VWAP, and it had a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern. I mean, guys, this is literally the same setup that we just looked at on Lyft, by the way. And look at the call options, guys. The shorter term call options went up well over 1,000% on the runners, and the longer term call options went up well over 200%, right? The stock this is what it looked like over there. This is what it looked like here. Just completely, absolutely, just, crushing all of those price targets that you see right here. It went above all of them. Great trade, right? And that's from the pulse radar. The zone finder is your intraday to swing trade list, right? So this is an indicator based off the 1 hour time frame. It draws supply and demand zones for you and scans for stocks trading in those demand zones. The very first one I actually put out in the Investment Intelligence newsletter whenever I debuted this, and that trade also was very well, and one day going up over 275% on the shorter dated call options, and well above 70% on the longer dated call options here. So if you want access to those things, right, you can purchase them separately and get access to just those, or you can go ahead and get full access to the Investment Intelligence private trading group, and you'll get access to all the different tools, all the different tools to come, such as, the compression hunter, this new one, the zone finder, the pulse radar. You get my stock and ETF analysis, the Mag 7 analysis, SPY QQQ, IWM, TLT, all of that is included in the full package. Okay. And these are just some recent trades that we had. We had MU, posting this one early in the morning, looking for a breakout on this one for a move up to 105. You can see we broke through, came right up to that pivot high anchored VWAP over here, took profits on that. Call options did absolutely amazing on that. TTEK, starting off with that broader weekly time frame analysis, noticing that we're, essentially creating a small base here above a long-term price target. All right, so you zoom in onto a 1 hour chart, and what do you see? You see the base, you see a bull flag, a bullish continuation pattern above a base breakout level. And what did it do? It absolutely fired up to our bullish price target here. So amazing stuff inside of the Discord. I promise you guys are going to love it if you guys actually use it and use the resources available to you. There's so much great stuff inside of there. All right. So we'll end the video. Sign up for that newsletter. Okay, that's completely free. All right. Sign up for the private trading group if you're interested in all those different tools and resources. And to all of you already in there, thank you guys very much. Excited to bring this new tool, this new indicator to you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this little explanation.